This episode of RP MMO Radio is brought to you by our amazing and generous Patreon donors. Visit us at patreon.com/RP MMO Radio to help support the show. It is also brought to you by
Well, hello. I am offensively stereotyped Indian merchant seller that you see here and in most movies from the 80s and pretty much any video game with a desert theme. But you can call me Awesomes. Looking for a powerful item or artifact to use to base your entire life around and use every day, make yourself feel good? Well then, my friend, you should come on down to the merchant stall located at the heart of any desert-based location near you. I have anything you could want or imagine. You want the One Ring? Or maybe one of the other ones that only get a brief mention in the movies for like 5 seconds as shadows as they show them? We got them. Want to call down lightning and look like Chris Hemsworth? Well, of course you do. Who wouldn't? He's dead sexy. We have Mjölnir. Half price right now. So long as you're worthy. How about a magic lamp that grants 3 wish? Oh, wait, no, never mind. Already sold that one to a fresh prince. Heard he already ruined it, too. No refunds. So come and see me, Oshmus, and all my wares at the nearest desert vendor. You can't miss me. I'll be the only one wearing a stereotypical turban, and no one else. Good day.
You're listening to RP MMO Radio.
Does internet porn know you're cheating on it?
Where entertainment and roleplay in MMORPGs have little hybrid mutant babies.
Make a note of this. Dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow, dishonor on your whole family.
And now, here's your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, Civ, Jazz, Strafe, and Yunfei.
Everybody off. We need to go on a quick adventure.
Hello there, role players. Welcome to RP MMO Radio. This is our 84th episode. My precious. I, of course, am your host, Ashen Phoenix, and with me is the full crew, Jazz, Sib, Strafe, and Yunfei, and, of course, returning from the land beyond really bad food, also known as the hospital, Ronar, who's our call screener and waiting to hear from you. Go to rpmradio.com/Discord if you want to, chime in, talk about something, Jazz,
Put 'em to work, guys.
Kids say.
What?
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 What? I didn't hear what she said either. What'd you say, Yunfei?
Oh, I said put him to work, you guys.
That's right. I thought you said pudding at work.
Crack the whip.
And now I want pudding. So that's great. Thanks for that. So we do this every weekend, except for the last weekend of each month, over at what is it? Twitch.tv/RP Radio. I got so many the friggin'
You almost pulled a Strafe there, boss.
That's right. RMPO LMNOP Radio Speedwagon.tv. Twitch.tv/RPM Radio. Go ahead and follow us and join there. I know there's people that have joined, but for whatever reason, the Streamlabs OBS hasn't updated it, and I don't have the emails in front of me, so I will have to say it next time. But whoever you were, thank you. Thank you for following, even though I
Thank you.
can't remember it and it's not showing. Because we're a professional outfit here, and I will argue with anyone that says anything different, like Jazz is constantly
Hey, I've
bad-mouthing-
never said anything else, you brat.
just bad-mouthing.
You gotta watch her, man.
Like, just
Serious business.
she's just the worst.
Hey.
Hmm?
Don't be bad mouthing our resident cougar. Mm-hmm.
Gotta tune her up, man. It's not cool. I'm just saying.
Yep. Professional broadcast, right?
Gone in 5 seconds.
So how's everyone doing this week? Yeah, I have a good week. Enjoying
I had an okay
pollen.
week. I had a really bad headache toward the end of the week, so I didn't get much done. but
Yeah.
I did get some roleplay done in game and in both games that I'm playing now, and it's been fun.
Swator.
Yes,
Swator.
I have
Yeah.
revived one of my old characters, and it's a hit, folks.
She is getting ERP like you wouldn't believe.
No ERP, sadly.
Oh, wait.
But
No, I thought you said you were playing in SWTOR.
I am, but I'm not getting
That's the
any
first
ERP.
thing I thought to have at as well, Ashen.
I'm teasing. It's only on the fleet.
Actually, I think a lot of that has either petered out, pun intended, or is not as prevalent as it used to be because there's actually roleplay there. It's a little cringy, and there definitely a lot of them are young and new. But barring that, it's actually not bad. We've actually had some halfway decent roleplay there.
I actually loaded it up earlier today. I see you in there playing, because Discord tells everything that everyone does, and I get I kind of want to do that just for the stories, but then I'm like,
Well, I gotta say, we revived our old guild. TriStar is back up and running, and we've got a lot of people from ESO that have come to play Tor in the slow season. So we've got some role play. We've set it up, and we've got some apprentices and some mercs and stuff. And it's looking like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Cool. I might have to take a look at it.
So if you want to come in and bring your badass, what was his name?
Xanatos.
Why can't I remember his name?
There was Xanatos.
Xanatos. There we go.
Yeah.
Xanatos. Bring him back to terrorize Kariv a little bit, because she's one of the few people she's actually scared of. That would be fun.
Yeah. I think
the only other
funk still, so I don't.
This is the solicitation of come play with us.
Yeah. Well, I'm not playing ESO, so I've actually. It's been weird because like I said, I haven't had an MMO that I'm really dying to play, and I mean it's fun to run around and at least the story quests, like we were saying earlier. They up the XP, so I can literally skip all the side quests that I've already done 1,000 times and just focus on the story mode, which in that game really was good. They did good stories. I mean, I can't.
The stories are very good. In my, I'm doing the Eternal, not the Eternal Throne, but the one before that. I did the Revan one, the Shadow of Revan.
Yeah,
and then I did the. I don't know what it is, but it's a prelude to the Eternal Throne thing.
Yeah.
So I've gone through 3 basic books so far, 2 basic books, and I'm working on getting
the ones after the character story arcs.
Star Wars crazy around here, kids.
Yeah.
So, and then it's been a lot of fun, and it gives me something to do when it's slow in ESO. I still go every day, and I get my, crafting done and stuff.
Right.
But I haven't really had much roleplay, and I go to Riften or we go to our events, and there's really not a lot of people there interacting with anyone anyway. And
meanwhile, their EU servers are exploding, apparently.
Yeah.
You see that? Where they're over on ESO, they had to actually implement queues again because for whatever reason, people on the EU side were busting out on their server so much that it was causing trouble, so they're
digging it over there.
Yeah, they can get the upgrades in to hold the server load. They had to instigate queues again. Which is a good problem.
Well, they also are doing the yearly thing. The anniversary stuff is on, and then there's going to be the new content and the new intro quest to Elsewhere is in game. So there's a lot of stuff that are starting to draw some people in. So maybe it's that. I find the anniversary stuff kind of boring. The first week was Ritz, so I did trade skill Ritz and did really well. But now you have to go actually do Undaunted quests. And I don't do a lot of group content anymore because all of my friends are doing other things.
And groups suck.
Or they're on during the day and they work at night. So I got no one to do group stuff with, and I hate doing the pug stuff. So, So I went and I did Story and Tor. It works.
Yeah, I'd rolled up what's the Sith Inquisitor because I never played through that storyline, so I was doing that's my tank. That's the one I'm doing it on.
You can go DPS or tank, and I went tank, and I love my tank. I've always had her as a tank, and I love it. So
very tanky. How about you guys? Anything good happen this weekend? This week? Me? No? Anybody?
I did poetry Tuesday night.
That was good. We were
It was
busy.
fun. It was really busy. We had to move it to Jazz's Earth Tier Cavern.
Oh, you did. You ran out of
folks for it.
space.
Yeah, we had more than 12 people. We had 18 people there, so it's a good
last couple times. Yeah, well, since I missed last week, because my mom was in town, we barely fit into Trithal's house, so we had to move it to Jazz's place. So it was nice. It was full. We still had the same 5 people doing the same.
Yeah, but it's nice to have people there. And Telvanni night was suitably busy as well. Thursday was slow, but so we didn't get to do our fashion show. But
thanks, Jazz.
What?
Nothing. Keep on going.
Yeah, keep telling us what Strafay did in roleplay, Jazz.
Exactly. Keep telling us.
Sorry, I'll shut up. I didn't mean to do that. I was just really excited.
It's good.
Sorry.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Complete ADD moment.
Jazz, you were telling it so much better.
It was probably better, but ADD moment real quick. You ever notice that when you get a hair on your tongue, you just look like a lunatic trying to grab your own mouth to get it off? Like, nobody else knows you have a hair on your tongue, so you're just looking like this, like a fucking idiot and I'm the only one on the camera. So if that was when you watching me touch my tongue, it's not because I love the tactile sense like Joe Biden. It's because I have hair on it.
That was bad.
It's good.
He's a tactile person.
I think you're just a lunatic.
Yeah, that's probably true too. Radar from the background.
That's fair.
Yeah. So
other than that, I've been kind of like Ashen. I don't know, man. There's something about ESO right now. I just need a break, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I think I burned out, or maybe people I was playing with burned out, and then so I burned out. I guess I can't really explain it.
And
burned out by proxy.
Yeah. Well, I can say I know one thing. Like I didn't care too much about what was the last thing? That was the swamp, Murkmire. I hate swamps. Don't care about Argonians. Elsewhere, Khajiit. Guess what else I don't care about? Oh, and deserts. Khajiit and deserts. Yeah, don't care. So I'm not excited at whatsoever.
You don't want to go to the giant cat litter box, bro? Come on now.
No. I mean, everywhere you step, you're just gonna have to worry. Is there a turd underneath it?
You're so terrible.
That is not the turd. That is the mystical, magical, multicolored yarn ball.
That is not the turd you are looking for.
That's not the turd you're looking for.
This one does not think you should plant there. Why? That is my litter box. Khajiit are awful.
Oh man.
So that's good. Anybody? So Jazz, you got anything on your role play? I know you're talking about it, but I don't know if you had a.
I didn't have. Okay. I didn't write much. Like just I said, I usually write Thursdays and Fridays, and I didn't get home in time, and I had a splitting headache, so I didn't get to write.
Yeah, that puts a damper on everything.
When you have a small, angry squirrel inside your brain trying to claw its way out, you just don't feel like writing.
Yeah, I woke up with one of those little.
Did have one roleplay thing happen to my tune on ESO though.
Oh, what'd you do?
Cial had lurked around Trask's place and painted warts on all his fancy furniture, and then tried to repaint them to match the wood. Trask, being an Altmer and a perfectionist, noticed all the mismatched colors, so he then set about recoating paint. Found her runes, didn't say nothing, just made the stain even, and then scolded her for playing in the house with paints.
Yes, she was irritated about that. She was so careful. She thought she was so slick.
And he took it as a compliment of, she's worried about me, so that's cute. But not my furniture, I say.
I will say,
Bosma.
Matching stains is very difficult. You may as well just redo it. But boy, is it fun to reapply it. Especially with the windows closed.
Weirdo.
I'm actually going to try to move that story along. I'm trying to get back into it. Every time I go to poetry, I'm having a little more fun, but I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of key players that are gone now, so I'm like, well, I'm just going to have to modify what I was going to do.
I think we're just going to have to pause for now, because unless we want to just do it without folks. I mean,
and it may come to that, but...
I know, but let's wait until like May.
All right.
See if people come back in a couple of weeks.
Fair point.
Because everybody's got graduation coming up. After the first week of May, people are done. Maybe they'll come back after that.
First week? Wait, you guys...
College graduates first week.
Oh, I was thinking high school, which is for us is the end of May or beginning.
Yeah, end of May middle of May, end of May for high schools, but colleges tend to get out in the first week of May. That's when they graduate, or at least that's Hell Week. And
they don't have time to pay. They got 3 jobs to pay off their student loans. They're not going to be playing anymore.
Good luck, man. They're getting worse and worse.
Go work at the Mickey D's.
And my kids want to go to a private college. God save.
That's
well, they better be working on those scholarships.
Yeah, that's what I told them. I said, you better be getting better grades or you're going to a state college, buddy, because I am not paying for this.
State college. I'll let you lick the back of a community college around the corner. That's about as good as you're going to get with those grades.
There you go. That sounds rational to me.
I'll let you smell the college air. That'll be $10. I think that's how they go off of it. They actually charge off based off how many breaths
that's how they work you in.
You take. Yeah, I think that's how it is. So, well, it sounds like everyone's had a good time. What about you, Yunfei? You play anything? I know you're kind of our like indie underground player.
Played a little Project Zomboid.
See, like that, I've never heard of that.
It's kind of inventory management, the game, but I don't know if it's...
Oh, it's like Fallout 76.
Yeah, like I don't know if it's the autism or what, but I really dig it.
Yeah, that's cool. What was I played? It was some indie. It's on Xbox or something, but it was some like you have it's side scrolling and it's one of those really pretty games. It's only like 2 hours long, and I didn't finish it because it was so calming. I got sleepy. But you have like a little ship, and you have to like use steam power or wind sail power to make the little thing roll across a barren desert lake, and things get in your way. It was something like Fall in the Sail or something like that. I can't remember. It was a weird name. It was very pretty, but it was along the lines of like, now I can't think of them. Like, not like Braid. That one. What is that one you watched? Me and Sib, you and the girl watched me play with the big blob at the end.
I don't remember, but that one was kind of gross.
Yeah, it was super.
Were you?
Yeah.
Picking at people and
Inside. I think it was Inside. But anyway.
Oh, Inside is so good.
Yeah, it's in that vein, or like a side-scrolling version of Journey. The desert one with the scarf girdle thingy person. It's like that, but pretty. Mm-hmm. So, all right. Well, I guess we could go into what we have now.
He's also been taking care of her sick husband.
Oh, what's him? Yeah, what about him? He's fine. Yeah. It's
Actually,
good to have
he's been doing really well on his own, so.
That's good. Yeah, and avoiding wasps,
excellent.
Of course.
And what?
Wasps.
Oh, God. Yeah, well, it's pouring like there's no tomorrow right now,
been raining
so
good
I think.
All day.
But yeah, I haven't seen any.
That's good. Hopefully we crushed their tiny chitness forms and the rest of them got the message.
Yeah.
So
you didn't even ask me what I did this week.
I was getting to you.
Nerd.
No, you were going on to what the topic
Yeah, I know,
was.
and then I remembered that I hadn't gotten to you, so
I had something really exciting happen this week.
You person that I live with, what did you do this week?
I've been playing Fallout 76.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. And I've been in game with Shafei and his brother. And
Gabalists.
I got to set off a nuke.
She did.
I nuked
White Springs. All the players in the world fled, and as soon as the drop dropped, they all ran back in.
You know, I was just happy I burned up that person's house.
Mm-hmm.
It was the most epic, dubious clap I'd ever heard. She cooked it off. She's like, "Oh look!" Clap, 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 clap.
And then I headbutted my microphone because I got so excited.
Yeah, she got a little. I heard. I set it off. Clap, clap, clap. Boom. Ow.
Yeah, pretty much how it went.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. No, I was so proud of myself. I was like, yeah.
So I have a question for the two of you, since you play Fallout 76 more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Based on percentage, what percentage would you say you are in a state of loot fatness?
See, the key is identifying the key culprit, which is often stim packs and Radaway.
That's not what I asked.
Cut that in half, stick it in your stash box, you're free and easy. But if you don't...
That's not what I asked. I asked what percentage of time.
Okay, I'm going to say 97% of the time, I am loot fat and walking across the map to some train station.
You used to accuse me of it. Now I'm just like, I found the Radaway Stim Pack Hideaway pet plan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not loot fat anymore.
But the reason I'm always loot fat is because I am the scavenger of the group. I go and scavenge, and then if they need something like springs, lead, steel,
and by scavenge, she
glue,
grabs everything that's not nailed down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then I make sure they have it.
She actually was emptying out her bags one day, and a player fell out. It was
I know, right?
that bad.
I asked Ashton if I could keep him, but he's like, "No, you got to throw him back.
Nah,
he's under the limit." And I'm like,
tried to crawl away. I think Cab got him. We don't have
had radworms. Yeah, you don't want those. It's riddled.
pretty much.
No. He wasn't. Old enough to keep. I would have been moving up to the cougar stage.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dang!
I had to throw him back
year by year.
I don't have the perfect growl like Jazzy does. I love it. Anyway,
don't tune them up, man, because they won't stop.
I'm
telling you.
I'm not saying
that was my week. I played Fallout and went to baseball game.
Yeah, and got rained out.
And Indigo, Jules, if you listen to this or when you do, I plan on getting together with you again in game. It's just every time you come on, it's like late and I have to go to bed. Yeah. I'm like, and I always send you a message and then you respond like sometime during the night.
We
like,
got
I know you're already in bed.
Jobs.
But at some point I will hook up with Indigo Jules and play Fallout 76 with him.
He's a fun player to play with by the by.
Yeah, he's a pretty funny guy. Has a lot of crazy pictures from inside the game and stories.
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Right.
So.
Well, anybody else that I missed? Like my
just
wife.
Me.
Yeah, but I live with you all the time. You're like,
I know. I'm just like part of the scenery now. You just kind of glance over me.
I mean, and as scenery goes, it's not bad. I'm just saying, sometimes you just forget to look, and it's behind me, and I mean, there's Fred.
This guy is a couch surfing pro. He must love it. I mean, I don't get it.
He doesn't forget about me when I stick my cold ass hands to his back.
Oh, dear God.
That's the revenge kick. All right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ashton, I'm sorry for your suffering, bro. I know what that's like. It's not good.
Yeah, that was...
He's like, warn me before you do that. Made me clench up.
So, did you ever wonder, watching Game of Thrones, what it would feel like if a White Walker just came up and hugged you and then slipped their hands under your shirt?
Mm-hmm.
It feels a lot like that. That's what it felt like.
I was a culprit this one time, and it was Freezer Feet, but it was exactly the same thing. I just came in, the ex-girlfriend at the time, I was hunting on a ranch, and I came back in early, and I was cold and standing there. She's like, if you're cold, why don't you just get back in bed? And I just grinned, the big Gormal grin. I'm like, she agreed to it.
Yeah.
So I crawled in there, stuck my cold feet right behind her calf, and that woman jumped straight to the ceiling like a cat.
What's wrong with you?
Pretty much.
Yeah. And that's why she's an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah,
that was the end of that.
Yeah. These things happen.
Yeah, that and your inch-long toenails, that was probably the other problem.
Well,
whatever.
better to scratch your back with when,
Yeah, they're retractable. It's all good. So the main topic we had actually was... and it's one of the problems, I didn't realize at the time who Hijackal was, because when people send me a tell, if you change your name or I know you by something else in other forums, it doesn't tell me that. So I didn't realize it was Eirkas as Hijackal, if you actually go off of what his Discord name was. For some reason, I didn't put the connection until today. It's only been a week. But he actually sent an idea for a topic, and let's see here. Where is it said? Okay, so here's the idea, and this is I'm just going to read what he had sent me. So, can a RP character be defined by the weapon he or she wields? I almost wanted to say welds. That is totally would have been wrong.
I would say yes.
Welds, wields.
For example, like how King Arthur is known for wielding Excalibur. Would he be as widely known historical figure without the legendary sword? Would the Lich King be one of the most popular characters in WoW history without the infamous Frostmourne?
Well,
because he was a little bitch.
Men have been naming their swords since the dawn of time. It's
Sephiroth
really
has the Masamune. I mean, Cloud's got the Buster Sword. I'm just saying, it's pretty iconic.
Yeah,
they like to name things.
Yes, they do. They love to name their swords.
Hey, y'all can take your female privilege and freaking jog on. BS.
They really like to name things.
Yes, they do.
It's always got to go there, doesn't it, Ashton?
Yes, always.
Hey, we're not the ones naming it. I mean,
yeah,
I got to name it. It'd be like Wee Willie Winky.
Well, to be fair, King Arthur got his Excalibur from the Lady of the Lake.
And she was found stuffed in an ashtray.
Technically, the Lady of the Lake named that sword.
That's true. The Lady of the Lake did name Excalibur.
So there you go.
So he said, yes.
Of course, if he was
she loved that sword so much, she named it Excalibur.
And I mean, not
gave
that King Arthur's an actual, person. He's as fictional as the Lich King, as far as anyone can tell.
Pretty much.
But yeah, I thought it was a. Let me finish reading what he said. Like if so, does he need to have a shit ton of weapons in his arsenal to become recognized or noteworthy? Something like that, if it's even worth discussing over. To answer your question, I think it's worth discussing over. I thought it was a cool concept.
Because we made an entire topic out of it, so I'd say I hope so.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, that was what he said. That was his self-doubt. That was his self-doubt.
Yes.
Don't doubt yourself, Eirkas. Believe in you like Rosie O'Donnell believes in spandex and its power to hold everything together.
Dude, I'm going to be terrified all night from that line.
What are you drinking?
Nobody was talking. I was just going to let the joke settle. Apparently, it was so good, everyone was just speechless. I'm sorry. That was probably the first time Rosie O'Donnell's been brought up in 2 years, so it's okay.
No, but I think you're right. I mean, every
2 years.
Hero character's got their unique weapon that makes them them. I mean, the guys in Assassin's Creed have their freaking wrist blade.
Right.
The Predator's got his freaking crazy claws and his little toys.
His little
James Bond's got a
cannon.
Got a Walther PPK. I mean, hey.
And some fancy
Harry
car.
Potter has his scar.
Yep, he's got a scar and that stupid little stick he waves around.
Yeah.
Stupid little stick.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. So, and if, and to bring that, and a lot of that, they're interchangeable, like Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon. I mean, the Millennium Falcon is as much a character in Star Wars as any of the actual walking, talking, breathing characters. Without that ship, I mean, it's in almost all the damn movies, and it really is its own thing, and it's just synonymous usually with Solo and the Wookiee, even though it's changed hands.
Their flight computer is actually that droid of Lando's now, so hey.
That he was oddly having sex with for some reason. Yeah,
I don't want to know that part, but hey.
What? No, that's the theory.
Don't ruin Billy D for me, bro.
Well, that wasn't Billy D. That was Donald Glover.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Which, by the way, seeing Billy D in that new trailer.
Oh, dude,
he's put on about as much weight as I have. He had some extra faceage, I noticed, but it was an awesome scene to see him flying the Falcon again.
Yes, it restored a bit of my hope.
Yeah,
I was really pleased to see him. I really was.
I was
like,
hey, Steffe, would you say you had a new hope?
I wouldn't say I had a new hope. I would say I had a big hope.
I love you, girl. That was awesome.
Thanks,
He's been
Vanessa.
doing the stunts all day, man.
Look who I hang out with. Okay,
that's true. That's true.
Crap.
Wow.
I mean, when I saw Billy D rolling there, I was like, finally, you were supposed to be in the last movie, but hey, here you are. Good to see you, Billy.
Billy D.
That's right.
Somebody link that for me in Discord, please, because I'm lazy.
Yeah, between that and the Jedi Fallen Order, hopefully Star Wars can get back on track. Although I did, completely off topic, I did see where Disney was saying that after this episode 9, they're going to go on a hiatus of movies because I think they need to reconfigure and do, like, everyone's like, I think everyone's just tired and burnt out on Star Wars. We get like one movie a year. Meanwhile, Marvel, 3 to 4 movies a year. Nobody's burnt out on that. Even their bad ones make like $300 million domestically.
I think they're reading it wrong. We got burnt out because we got some crappy movies.
They were crappy,
suddenly.
right? Well, that's the thing.
And as cool as Solo was, people still had Ryan Johnson fresh in their brains, so I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And Solo was actually it was a perfectly adequate and fun movie. It was it was good and well done, but it was they were so burned by The Last Jedi and Ryan Johnson, and I enjoyed it, but I know why people did it and didn't like it, and now you got J.J. Abrams coming in and undoing. I think and this is what I was getting at. This is the problem with the current Star Wars line. Unlike Marvel has one guy, Kevin, I forget, Fogwa, however you pronounce his damn last name. He's in charge of making sure that all this shit connects. He's one guy to make sure all of it connects correctly. And while he gives all the directors a little wiggle room on how to do the stories and where they go, there's still a connecting pathway. And they didn't do that with Disney because what's-her-face that's in charge of that is garbage and has been since Lucas was in charge, Kathleen Kennedy. She's terrible. She's the worst thing to happen to Star Wars in years. So you got Abrams doing that first one, which everyone loved, even though it was a complete ripoff of A New Hope. It was still fun and it was enjoyable. Then you got him come in, and it doesn't skip a timeline. It's instantly after one movie to the next, which no other Star Wars numbered movie has ever done. There's always a couple years or months gap between one movie and the other. And he undoes a lot of what Abrams does, blowing up their base, then trying to make it so Rey's parents are just some drunken idiots that were, trying to get meth for their daughter. And now Abrams has to come in, and he's undoing that stuff. Because now there's apparently more to who she is and who her family was, which was like the build-up to start with.
Yep.
And you can't have your directors retconning. It's like role-playing with really shitty people. You have you do one group, and everything goes well, and then someone else comes in and they through story they retcon everything you did. So then when you
wreck all the stuff that was
you
before,
retcon what they did. They're just retconning each other in Star Wars like a bunch of childish role players.
It should be called Retcon Wars, man.
really should be. So they maybe
they'll retcon something and bring my Jaina back to me.
It would be nice, wouldn't it?
It would be
if they've got
so
her back
nice
in some way or another.
Yes,
a little jagged fell.
Yes.
I mean, at least we got a very decent remake of Thrawn. So that was a good one. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's to take it to roleplay. It really is like watching two little crappy roleplay groups fight amongst each other. But hopefully
we're used to that though in many ways because you have people who, and I have always kind of had an issue with people who take, the stuff written about movies that isn't sanctioned. And then people role play what they read rather than the real movie. It happens in a lot of movies. Fanfic is not lore.
Right.
And as Strayfake can testify, and you too, we've had to have this conversation with people because they're like, well, it was in this book. That's not lore. Well, it is to me.
I don't make it right, bro.
Yeah. Well, and
no.
using materials out of the official books, that's all well and good. But yeah, when and even then, some of them you're kind of like, some of them, especially Star Wars.
And then they went and retconned a lot of the fanfic out there.
Yeah,
that they did accept and did back up.
Yeah, all the stuff post Jedi, Return of the Jedi.
Oh, dude, and that's why a lot of fans are hating it. I mean, there's a lot of Thrawn trilogy stuff that. I mean, I know I love they brought it in with Rebels, but there's a lot of people still pissed about that.
I know a lot of people weren't crazy about that. It was a 19-book series written by all those different authors with the Yuuzhan Vong invasion of people that those I loved it.
They dropped the moon on Chewbacca.
Right, they dropped the moon on Chewbacca. They gave him
at least we got rid of that.
Yeah, but that was actually a pretty noble end. So
yeah, it was. But
yeah, it's
a little salty there, Ben.
A little salty. Yeah.
Tell us how you really feel, Raw.
I love how R.A. Salvatore was like,
drop the fucking moon on a Wookiee.
Well, no, he was against it. He was like, no, if I do that, if I kill Chewbacca, they're going to kill me. He's like, he had to figure out a way to make it epic. And he's like, oh, I'll drop a fucking moon on the Wookiee.
There you
That's
go.
the only way you can do it. So, So welcome to the Star Wars podcast.
I was about to say.
Yeah, it's like we are so far off topic tonight.
So far. Okay.
Just to get us back on topic, Kylo Ren's got his little 3-blade deal. Darth Maul's got a double-bladed. They're all unique weapons you associate with that character. Go.
Yeah, and especially with lightsabers. That's one of the cool things with the Star Wars stuff and like role-playing and Thor is that really should...
Tell us about Star Wars!
I'm going to mute you.
You can't. You'd have to mute Faye.
I'm willing to.
You can't. You have to mute Faye.
But
magical button activate.
Oh, bring out our Yunfei.
I didn't do anything.
Oh.
I was just teasing. Everybody went with it.
But yeah, it's having some like a story based if you're role playing as a Jedi or even a Sith. You know, Sith rarely make theirs; they typically steal them. But still, there's always good to have. It's as much a part of your Jedi or your Sith as anything else. As their
I mean, I've always done that with my characters that they have a specific weapon that they're known for. Bacchus daggers, which were specially made and did some evil, terrible things. And she always wore them. So it's important, I think, when you make a character, if you're going to role play them as being martial, that like you had that sword, the staff that it would be nothing, and then it would turn into a staff in your hand for Xanis.
That was one of the ones. Yeah, the Fire Angel. Gem.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you role played that really well, and a lot of people were like, "Where can I get that in game?" And we'd always laugh. No, it's imagination. Imagination.
Right. Yeah, it was all. It was. You know what? You want to really know where I got the inspiration for that from? I don't know if everyone ever figured it out.
I think you told me once, but I don't remember.
It was from Dragon Ball. The original Dragon Ball.
I know what he's talking. Yep.
And he had that staff that would extend out all on its own, which was based off the legend, what Yunfei said, A Journey to the West.
Yep, The Journey West.
Yep. Yeah, that's what it was based off of, was that old thing where it was just a staff that would extend. I just put it into a ruby that would turn into different weapons and, because it was magic. That's easy to do. But, I put a lot of consequences and shit like that into with that weapon as well, but it was as much a part of Xanis as anything else was, his combat skills and all that, because I thought it was cool. I mean, really, it's kind of, I was like, that would be neat to have as a thing. Let's do that as a thing. And it worked it into the storyline over a long period of time. I still remember when I came up with it, and yeah, it was linked to his ex or deceased wife and a history of her family line, and it passed down to him, and there was all sorts of, a little piece of him had to go into every user of it. There was a piece of them inside there, given willingly to pass on to the next generation or the next user.
Gross.
So, yeah. They were in there touching each other. Sort of. So, all right, real quick. Gramma Gothy is asking a question in the chat on 2 questions, actually. So, on the topic of legendary or well-known weapons, do Jedi or do lightsabers have names similar to Lord of the Rings lore? No. There might be a handful in like ancient Sith lore, but I don't even in SWTOR where they were kind of liberal with that. I don't ever remember a named lightsaber.
The ancient Sith had different weapons that were named. Some of them weren't lightsabers, some were.
Right.
But
they referred to them by what they were.
Yeah.
I don't think they gave them a name.
I think at some point, the Sith kind of considered lightsabers a Jedi tool, and it was just used to kind of mock them.
Mm-hmm. Well,
later on.
And because it was a necessary, they had to. Otherwise, they just get cut in half,
Yeah, it's pretty much.
But I think the only lightsaber I know that was truly named was Mace Windu's, and that was Bad Motherfucker. Because he literally had them inscribe that on small lettering around the hilt of that lightsaber. So technically, there was one purple lightsaber known as Bad Motherfucker.
There you go.
I think that's the only one I can think of off the top of my head.
Well, the Jedi would run out of names, wouldn't they? Don't they keep losing them? Or is that just Luke?
I think that's largely Luke and Anakin. That ran in this. That was and then Rey. She broke his in half. Her and Kylo playing tug of war with it. So
there
was
looks
that.
like she fixed it in that trailer.
Yep, looked like it. And the other one she has, do you think, and this is going to be hard, I don't know if I'll be able to answer this one, do you think the trope of legendary or well-known weapons was handled well with Legion of the World of Warcraft? Why or why not? I don't know anything about World of Warcraft or the Legion expansion, so you
would have to bring in Eirkas to answer that question.
Yeah.
He's the resident expert.
Eirkas, if you're listening out there, call in so you can answer Gramma Gothy's question, because I never played World of Warcraft. I will say this, though. Speaking of legendary weapons in MMOs, which all of them have, if you get a legendary named weapon, like, I don't know, the Soulfire or something like that, or your World of Warcraft and you get Frostmourne, don't roleplay that you have the Soulfire or Frostmourne.
Please, God, don't do that. I swear to God, if I have one more role player, I'm just gonna snap on them and break all my rules and say, like, how can you possibly have so little imagination
At least
that you can't make up a name and a weapon and come up with something on your own than the story that is given to every single solitary player that plays this game.
Literally,
Jazz, you're ruining my immersion. I have Twinkle and Icing Death, and I'm the coolest.
Oh my God. I mean, there were people who were like, I killed Mistmore and I got his weapon and I wield it. Like every other person on the planet. It's not a...
Yeah, and even if you use the weapon itself, just
give it a different name.
Right, call it something
Please.
else. Yeah.
Oh my God. We may have found something that irritates me. I'll be quiet now.
Really?
I am just so tired of explaining to people when they start role-playing out their story, and it's like, it's the story of the game.
You're just playing the Jedi Knight storyline, aren't you? Let me guess, you're going to fight the Emperor at the or Darth Malgus at the end and defeat the Emperor.
And I've gotten to the point when people start doing that, my character just starts laughing at them.
Yeah,
and it's like, I've heard this story like 10 times. That's amazing. I mean, do you all read from the same script?
What?
I have to say, with RP nowadays, I think that's a lot of the problem is people aren't willing to use their imagination to come up with things.
They're lazy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And it's kind of frustrating because, they
can't be bothered to make up a name for their character and a backstory that's unique for each game. They can't be bothered to come up with something, and if you must use the same name, for the love of God, change the type of person it is and the race and the story. Don't just keep everything the same. It's annoying. And and that's not to say, and I will say this because I'm probably pissing some people off. I will say, I know some very creative people who do this. They do. And I don't, okay, I do. But I'm trying not to, and I know that they're good role players, and I usually am able to not say anything snarky about it. But if they ever ask me, and sadly a few of them have, they have found out exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And then they get it both barrels, Jazz style.
Because I just cannot stand it. It just drives me crazy.
Well, it's not even...
I'm going to say, Gramma Gothy in the chat said, well, a lot of players don't want to break lore and put time into learning the lore for the MMOs to RP, which... Again, goes back to being lazy.
That's laziness.
Yeah, in the fear
which also, I have to say one more thing.
Go ahead.
Which is why a lot of people don't use forums or write stories.
Yeah.
Well, that is something I miss. That is a lost art, I feel.
Well, we happen to have an amazing site that
don't get her started. She's been on me for a while. Why don't you write anymore, Strophe?
It's called Shadows and Dreams. And it's on Engine. And please come.
Y'all asked for this.
And you can make a profile for your character, and those are publicly available so that somebody can just type in your character's name and they will pop up in Google. But your journals and stuff are hidden behind the subscription wall, or not subscription wall, but you know what I mean. You actually have to,
acceptance wall that you've been accepted.
Right. And only members can see journals.
Right.
So, and there's different forums for like racy things that are more than PG-13. Where
Tell
you
me
can
more,
post
Jazz.
So, I love my site, and it's only used by 6 people. So I would really like it to get better. Yeah. So please. Yeah.
I put a link up. I put a link up in the chat.
You're so sweet.
But Yeah, and here's one thing too. I love you too. What she said about a lot of players not wanting to break lore, that I get, but it's also it's a fear that you get over when you learn the lore, because you're not worried about breaking the lore when you know it.
There's a lot of places to go to learn the lore. I mean, ESO has Shoddycast, and Shoddycast they go over just about every race, every class,
every speck of dust in the Imperial City.
Yeah. And it's an easy way to learn it because you can just listen to it.
Yeah.
You don't have to actually read. So, I mean, if you like podcast, bam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Shoddycast has a good one, and their YouTube channel if you don't do the podcast thing.
And there's tons of places on the unofficial ESO pages, for example, where you can get all of the stuff that's in the videos, but it's all written down for you to read.
Yeah.
And when I first started playing ESO, I just pulled it up on my phone and would read it when I was bored.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I made my orc, I went to ESO orc lore on the wiki, and that's how I got all my information on how to make my background for my orc.
And man, is she mean!
But it's very fascinating, and it's fun, and even if you don't go into a lot of it, get the basic lore of what you want to do. Or if you don't know what you want to do yet, go and play the game a little bit, then start delving into the lore.
Can I just step in here a moment? Sorry about that.
No, you're good. As long as you're not shouting from you, Faye, that's fine.
No, that's... I think what people do is they will use the story that they are playing as a guide for their own role play. And I use guide very liberally. But they will do that because if they don't know the lore, there's a lot of time consumed to learn the lore of things. Like, for example, just using ESO as the example. There's so much lore in ESO. Mm-hmm. It would take so long to learn it all that I think some people don't have the time or the means to learn it, or don't know where to go to learn it. And unfortunately, that leads them to just use what is already available to them.
Yeah. And
well, I call bogus on time.
They're still lazy.
I do understand.
Role players. But I understand that too.
That's what I mean.
If you're gonna go,
even if it's a podcast, you can listen to it.
Yeah. If it's
even if it's written down, you can find some time to read, and it just comes down to whether or not they really care. And I found that a lot of people don't care enough about it. They just want to role play. They don't want to think too hard about it. They don't want to learn the lore. Really, they just want to have fun. And that's fine, but that just makes me insane.
Everybody goes to the bathroom. Take your phone with you and read about it while you're in the bathroom. I mean, come on.
Well, isn't that what Bethesda said when they announced Elder Scrolls Blade, which, by the way, is a piece of garbage? Don't you all have phones? Yeah, we do, but that doesn't mean we want to play an Elder Scrolls game on it.
Nope.
And thank you for your input, Rahanar.
Yes, Rahanar. Yeah. It's always nice to hear from you.
Yeah, and thing is, getting into roleplay as a hobby, it's not something, if you want to do it well, it's not something you just, half-ass. You really do need to at least put a minimal amount of effort, and you can learn the basics of lore.
Agree.
Or even, like for me, wanted to know about the Dunmer. I'm not I like Elder Scrolls, like I like Skyrim, so I like Skyrim. But so I didn't really know a lot, but I definitely, since didn't play Morrowind and didn't play Oblivion, I didn't know anything about them. So I read up on them and I found it interesting. But the fact that I didn't read up on the others, well, that's easy to get by. I just pretend that my character doesn't know it either because I don't. And you find out by role playing.
And I think that's the easy way to handle it. I mean, I know that the whole I have amnesia storyline is we've all heard it 1,000 times, right? But at the same time, I accept that because at least they don't know, and so they're playing that their character doesn't know, and I'm kind of okay with that. That doesn't bother me nearly as much as somebody sitting there saying, I'm actually from a planet called Voss, and I'm here visiting Elder Scrolls or whatever,
Right.
I referenced Neverwinter Nights back in the day on this strictly Dragonlance mod. This dude was a half-orc. He's called himself Worf, the son of Moog, and was running around acting like a clown. In D&D, I was like, yeah, you're an idiot.
Yeah. Right.
But there's also people who roleplay who see no harm in copying a character's name because they think it's funny or it's witty, and it is witty, but when you have people that take your hobby so lightheartedly and don't care about lore and don't care, they can't be bothered to look up a name that fits in lore. They just make up whatever name they've played in other games or a name that comes from some movie they liked, and they don't even bother to look up what culture they're playing in. And that's really, really difficult to deal when you take it seriously as a hobby. Because to me, there's no difference for me for role playing than my friend who has a sailboat. It's a little one and it only goes like on lakes, but it's his thing. This guy like eats, breathes, and he puts all his money into this beautiful little ship. And people are like, what else do you do? Nope, this is it. I'd go broke if I did anything else.
Yeah, well, and that's why I never got into things like Magic the Gathering or was it the War, the one with the little figurines, the Warhammer.
Warhammer.
Yeah, don't do that. I don't have that kind of time or money. It looks fascinating.
That is money sink beyond money sinks.
Or like my dad, he build model airplanes, says the fairy, but next thing you know, you're sniffing glue and your daughter's knocked up. I've seen it happen 1,000 times. But no, my dad built a lot of airplanes. He loved model airplanes. And my biological dad, I remember this growing up, he was in the Navy. He would build... where you find these fucking people, especially in the 80s, I don't know, before the internet. But he was in a group of people that would build out of balsa wood.
They advertised in the classifieds back when the newspapers mattered.
But they would make balsa wood battleships, and they would the cannons were little BBs, like little miniature BB guns that would rotate, and it was all remote control. They would sail these things on a little pond. Yep. They would spend hours. Hundreds of hours building these things, and they would sail them on a pond and shoot the shit out of each other until one of them sank. All that work going to the bottom of a pond, and then they would do it again.
That is sweet.
Yeah,
one of my clients.
What an awesome hobby.
It was a really
pretty excellent.
Not remote. Is it called a remote control car still?
Yeah, it's still remote.
Basically, remote control car. But the inside is the remote control car, but the outside often are toys. That he goes and he gets toys and he builds them basically himself. He takes the top from some cool looking car, and then he builds the innards. And apparently,
those things can get up there, yeah.
And he goes and he'll buy the little engine part, and he diggles with it, and he goes to Des Moines and he buys stuff that he needs from it. And he's on a fixed income. He's really careful where he spends his money, but this is his hobby.
Yeah.
So if somebody comes out there with something, they just went into a store and they bought a $300 remote control car, and he beats the pants off of them, and when they're like, this is stupid, it's just a game, he'll get angry because to him, it's his hobby. This is something that he cares a lot about, and I guess that's the way it is for me. If you can't take it seriously, then it's not really a hobby, and then that, on some level, even though I know I'm being very too much expectation.
Hi. Your
but to me,
go on.
Yeah.
It's a hobby, and it's my hobby, and I really don't have a lot of hobbies, so this is important to me.
Yeah.
And when you're like, it's just lore, it doesn't matter, it makes me angry.
Right. Yeah. Well, and it is a good hobby to have, honestly, of all the hobbies out there. Really, MMOs and role playing can really be. It's on the cheaper end of them. It's the more affordable brand. It's. Because even video games, like if you're just a gamer that doesn't do MMOs, buying new games all the time, it's $50-$60 a pop.
Dude, it's expensive.
That's expensive too.
Yeah.
But you get one MMO, $15 a month typically, and even if you do extra stuff here and there with if you get stuff for housing and stuff, it's still comparatively cheap to then somebody that can spend $300 on a single part for an RC car.
Well, Brent's always asked me, he's like, why are you always playing the same games? I'm like, because I can't afford a whole lot of games, bro.
Right. Yeah, it's comparatively cheaper, or someone that goes to, that loves baseball and they go to all the baseball games. That shit gets expensive too. You seen the price of a hot dog at a ball game? Good Lord.
We had 2 good comments in the Twitch chat.
Yes, I see those. You want to read them?
I'll read the first one.
Okay.
And then you can read the second one, or anybody can read the second one. I'm not going to pronounce that name because I will pronounce it wrong. Abomanis. Play as a non-combat or a red shirt character. The level of lore that people expect you to know is set at a low bar.
Mm-hmm.
True story.
Call him Obo. There we go.
Obo. But yeah, which is true. And I agree with that. And then Gramma Gothy had another one.
Yep, Gramma Gothy, which, by the way, thanks for hosting, Grandma. Appreciate that. I need to just call you Gothy and stop calling you off the first name because it makes it sound really strange. So, thank you, Grandma Gothy or Gothy. There are people who have characters who have been assimilated into their who have been assimilated into other cultures, which is an interesting aspect and makes room for learning the lore from others. Yes.
Well, yes, and I agree with that. That's what I like because, like, Cial is actually more of a Saxleal or an Argonian than she is a Bosmer because she was raised by that culture. So I don't mind when people do that if they can come up with a reason, but if they named their character Bingo and they're a Khajiit raised in Khajiit lands, I'm going to slap them or want to. So, yeah.
Where are you from? I'm from Khajiitavania.
That's what I did with my character, Voli. She came from the orc community. She was young. She was in 18, 19. I didn't know a lot about the rest of the world of ESO, but I knew there were people in the guild such as Strafei and Wolf that knew a lot about the lore. Therefore, I made my character young. She didn't know much, so she would sit around and talk to them and learn about the lore in game and out of game.
But you did a clever thing with your backstory. You had your character ostracized from your stronghold. So you didn't even get the stronghold last name, and I thought that was genius because then you could learn about the lore, and your lore still fit.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's a lot of ways around it if you want to learn the lore. I mean, there really is, and there's always people in game that know it. I mean, if you don't want to read or you don't want to listen, RP it out.
RP it out. That's the best. Because Jazz, Strafei, Yunfei, Sib, you're about the only one, and that's just because you came late to the show. We all knew a great deal about Norath and everything like that. And people would come to, well, maybe not Strafei, because he was not really approachable, but other people's characters.
In my defense, back in the day, Tristari was a nice guy.
There was a time.
They would come to you, just not your character.
There was a time when I was doing some type
of... Hey, Rengots, tell me about where you came from. Fuck off.
Yeah, I was doing some type of performance, and his character goes, "Do not touch me," and I was like, "Backing away."
She was doing the Jessica Rabbit singing around this pub.
But it was hilarious because I was like, "Whoa, okay, not touching the bad guy."
Nope. But yeah, having roleplay conversations, character on character, it's a really good form of roleplay because you get to learn something, and your character in game also has a way of learning it. It kills a lot of birds with one stone. It's a really great, and it's really underutilized by a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's usually fun RP. I mean, because you're actually RPing something out.
Yeah,
and you're having a discussion with somebody, and to me, that's always a fun RP. I enjoy that.
Yeah, because I've been in lots of different games where I didn't know the lore. I knew a little bit about ESO from years and years and years ago, but I really wasn't steeped in the lore. And so when I first started out, I had her basically, not that she didn't know anything or that she had amnesia, she just didn't tell anybody jack shit.
It was very generic. You did a lot of
she was just a very generic character. Yeah. She didn't tell anybody anything. They'd ask her, "Where are you from?" None of your business.
Yeah.
And it kept my character from having to come up with something right off the bat while I role-played in the world and learned about the game. And that's a justifiable way to do it.
Yeah. Okay, so another one from Gothy here. Getting back onto the thing of legendary weapons and the characters and stuff, because we got way into the weeds on lore, which is all good. Can anyone think of any important person within an MMO played that didn't follow the trope of having such a weapon? Like, if you mean character-wise, most people don't even do that. There are a handful, really, that, and sadly of that handful, a lot of them use, the thing where they're using the actual item, but
I'll agree with that because Rengots, because you brought him up,
he
used a short sword and a dagger of dark elf design, and there was nothing special about him.
Right, they were utilitarian weapons.
That's what he had when he was growing up in Neriak. That's what he was trained with. That's just what he stuck with. He didn't have names for them.
Right,
they were just the tools of the trade.
Right, exactly.
So, are you talking about NPCs that?
I wasn't sure. I'm not sure which. Let's go with both. I mean, answer it for both ways. Why not?
Because if you're looking for NPCs who don't have a specific, weapon or whatever, that's going to be harder to find because they are put there, and that weapon is put there for the player to gain.
Typically, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think.
So, like, Luke can,
sword.
He's got to drop something when you finally get up there to kick his butt,
I don't think Antonia Bale has an actual... I mean, they have, they always show her with, like, a staff, but I don't think... It's not like Furiona V. Her staff was part of her character.
Don't you get, like, her underwear or something?
You get her bikini bra.
I was gonna say,
I think that's only. I think that's only if you're playing Oolong from Dragon Ball, and then he wishes for underwear from a all-knowing immortal dragon. But that's just if you're playing the pig characters like an orc. No, I don't like Antonia Bale. She's one. She doesn't really. Because I also don't think you ever fight her. You see her talk.
I was just gonna say, I don't think you fight her
because she's not a villain, and so you're not going to fight the good guy. Lucandelier, villain. Let's see. Obviously, most of the people in the Lord of the Rings lore, it's the same people in Lord of the Rings, and most of who has the special weapons in that. I don't, because I don't know much about Lord of the Rings. Hopefully, some of you guys out there do. Let's see.
I really tried to think of all the characters I've created and tried to think of something special that they had, and I couldn't come up with anything on my own characters.
Yeah.
I was like, nope.
Yeah,
the coolest thing I did with Rengots, I think, was he found his father's armor. And that was big for him because he was kind of an orphan kid anyway.
Yeah, and there was nothing so special. That was more of
There's nothing special about it. It was just
heritage.
It was special to Ren because it was his dad's, loot, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, and she said, okay, and if not, which we at least think of a couple. Stupid scroll. If not, what character, in your opinion, would still work well in their position without a legendary item in their possession? I can't answer...
I'd like to think that a lot of them would do just fine without one.
Yeah, like I can't answer the Lich King thing because I don't know how important that sword, but looking it up, it didn't seem like... It seemed like he was... The sword didn't make him. He was made the sword more famous and not the other way around.
Yeah.
Lucandelier, I think Soulfire was an awesome sword for him, and it worked out well because it was very dramatic. But he was also a lich, so his powers really didn't come from the sword. Even Jedi, I mean, even without the lightsabers, Jedi are still pretty damn deadly and dangerous. Even when they're fighting back in the old days before they got the lightsaber stuff working. Back when Old Republic, when lightsabers actually had cable going to a battery power pack.
Yep.
I just thought of one. It's not game related, but He-Man.
He-Man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's got the power sword.
Shit without that sword.
That's true.
Yeah. No, that's a good one.
Our freaking Lion-O from Thundercats, same deal.
Yeah, that sword was. Yeah, Lion-O with the sword.
All the people in Voltron.
Yeah, literally. They're pretty much completely worthless without the lions. Yeah.
Gramma Gothy says she never would have thought of He-Man.
Oh,
Sweetie, I don't think you're old enough to have thought of He-Man.
I'm going to go with that, too.
what was the one? They actually just came out with a brand new version of it on Netflix. Ultraman. He was he was him turning into Ultraman. Yeah, Gothy says I've watched He-Man. And you guys
good on you.
That's right.
Next time, He-Man.
I'll get you next time, you sniveling boob. But yeah, there's a lot of those. You go into all the stuff with mechs. Obviously, the humans are complete Evangelion. Humans are pretty much garbage without the mech stuff. But when it comes to just the weapons, He-Man's a pretty good one. She-Ra is another one, obviously. Same difference, just with boobs.
Not the new one, though.
No, I haven't checked out the
She-Ra
new one.
on Netflix.
Yeah, but the new one is, worthless. So
she pretty much holds her own.
Yeah. She's more like
I love you, Jazz.
Is she more like a Wonder Woman, I guess? Like she already has it's just her, I think. I don't know. The animation style put me off right off the start, so I haven't bothered with it yet.
I didn't like the art style in that.
Unlike the Dragon Prince, which is completely awesome. Especially second season when they fixed the stuttering Skippy issue with the animation, which thank you for doing that. But no, I think a lot of characters. I mean, Darth Vader would still have been a complete badass, and I mean, the rope.
Well, he lost his lightsaber anyway.
Right? He loses it half the time and still does fine. So
in the comics that are official now, he actually had to go hunt down a rogue Jedi and corrupt his crystal to make his red crystal, which was neat.
Yeah, would like Doctor Who with the sonic screwdriver. I mean, he's still
or the TARDIS.
Doctor Who. Yeah, without the TARDIS, I don't think he's quite so much though, because that's what travels him through time. Without that, he's just some lunatic with.
So that'd be a good example.
Yeah, just not the sonic screwdriver, but yeah, the TARDIS would be a good one.
Okay, these aren't weapons, but would Gru still be Gru without his minions?
No.
That's true.
No, I don't think he would.
I'm posting pictures of the people with their weapons in the...
I like the one you did with the Indiana Jones and the whip, even though he only uses it a handful of times. But yeah, that's definitely iconic.
He's known for his... Yeah,
oh, yeah, that's iconic.
For the whip.
Yeah. But he still does pretty good without it.
Yeah.
So even, he's still indie.
Us with our llama.
Yeah, I like what Obo said. Professor Plum in the study with a candlestick.
Yeah.
Sometimes he can use I don't remember what the other items were in that. I hated
a rope, a revolver.
That was it.
Candlestick, a lead pipe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The lead.
Is there
pipe.
A shoe? There should be a shoe.
Somebody's laying down the lead pipe.
Who throws their shoe? Really? That really hurt.
She had to go there. She had to go there. It's been all day. My goodness.
I worked today. I've only been in game for a couple hours.
She was trolling from work. I'm telling you, Ashen. It's been all day.
No.
Yeah.
That's because you guys were trolling me with 80 and 90 music last night. So.
Okay, so here's expanding on that because I think I kind of hit on some of these things.
I got one. Sorry, I got excited. Me, with my dubious clap.
Oh gosh.
Ow!
Jazz with her cougar growl.
Ashton, I don't even know what to say, bro.
We've silenced them. I think that's a record.
They're rubbing his eyes and his face.
I'm being nice. I'm just being nice. Mark it down on your calendars.
Mm-hmm. I need a thing. I don't have a thing.
You don't have a. We need to get you a thing.
You will develop one.
You do have a thing. You draw beautifully. That is your thing.
Yeah, that's your thing. Unifane her art. Hey, your boon is so in your face.
It is.
Yeah, I know. It's so that they can't.
Looks kind of like an ice cream cone. Or a fetish of some kind.
Whose boons? Your boons?
My boons. Ed boons.
Okay. That's what Ashen and his boon.
Mm-hmm.
Guys are ridiculous. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry. I totally derailed that
So
one.
hero weapons.
So moving on.
Back on track.
Something outside of a weapon. What about speaking of things, what about big things? Like me and my giant personality.
Uh-huh.
What? Yeah. No, but like guild size things. Like think in terms of like the Stargate in the SG1 series. Without
the Stargate that we had in our in EQ.
Yeah, that I made for you guys.
We made a Stargate. I've never been prouder of anything in my life.
Yeah.
That was Xanis did it, and it was amazing.
Really hard on that, and it looked
you
awesome.
Nerds, I remember that.
But with without that in that TV show, they're just a bunch of Air Force people with nothing to do.
Yeah, so, exactly. But like the amulets, you mentioned that.
Yeah, you want to go over like that was a guilds, and given a lot of guilds used use things like earrings or rings as communication devices, but you went out on a limb on these amulets.
Yes, we changed it because a lot of people talked into it like a microphone. And I wanted something that was a little different. Plus, with our focus on magic and mind magic, particularly, and the fact that we use dragons for security and dragon magic for security in our guild hall, we also used it for our amulets. And the amulet was a constructed stone. And most people did not realize that. A lot of people thought it was really just a rock. It wasn't. It was a constructed stone that Vaka made of crystals and other things. And each thing was spelled. That, right? Yeah, with alchemy. And everything was spelled and everything was enchanted. And it was all this. It was a very powerful little device.
Use shiny magic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we role-played out everything originally when we first started about getting the ingredients. It was a lot of fun. We had people going out and harvesting stuff and bringing stuff in. It was a lot of fun. And we did the same thing in ESO. We had a rolling role play for about 3 months, where we made the amulet and tested and failed until we got one that worked. Mm-hmm. And the one in ESO is only partially telepathic. You speak into it, and then it broadcasts it telepathically.
Yeah, because whereas the magic in ESO is way different. Yeah, you pushed your thoughts, and it would harvest thoughts you pushed out and then send it across the link, but it couldn't harvest your thoughts without will. You wanting it to be. Yeah, you couldn't just accidentally some stray thought. We always had people doing that, and it's like, stop that. It would not do that. Yeah. And it was a giant pain for people who couldn't grasp the concept of it. There was a lot of people that never grasped the concept. It wasn't a microphone, so you would randomly get things like a struggle is heard. It's like, actually, actually, no, it's not going to do that, guys. You could probably mentally call out for help me. I'm fucking getting murdered real quick, but you know. There's that. Yeah, but it was like they would try to broadcast emotions over the amulet, which we did originally, but we very quickly got rid of that because that went to the bad place quickly. Yeah, it went to the bad place really quickly. So we removed emotional context from the messaging, and then so it couldn't read emotions. It just basically the voice kind of in a dull way. It was always the dragon's voice. It wasn't really your voice. Mm-hmm. They'd mimic your voice, but it wasn't your voice. It was all the dragons. And it was a lot of fun because it gave a little godmoddy power to the dragons and allowed us for people to use it as an RP tool, which was a lot of fun. You want to read that, Yunfei? If you can. No, I don't think I can. Gothy in the chat said, "Stop rubbing your willies on the amulets." I really hate to tell you this, but Vaka had to say that a couple times.
Oh man, I remember those days.
Okay. You guys recycle those amulets?
Yes.
Or were they destroyed after the...
Yes, they were. Oh. Yeah. The amulets were created, and once they tuned to you, no one else could use them but you. And so when you left the guild, or when we made new ones, the old ones were destroyed, and the ingredients were recycled. Although
when you remade them, she would go collect the old ones because she didn't want them to have a direct link to her brain. And Rengoth's never handed any of his in because I had ulterior motives. Go ahead. Yes. Sorry, Jazz.
Yeah, no, originally when we first made the amulets, most people didn't know this, but the officers did. All the amulets were connected through Vakarina's telepathy. And it was a great idea, but it very quickly overwhelmed my poor tune. And so when the dragons were like, that was really dumb, right? Why don't you let us help you? So then we did that. So it was a lot of fun. the whole concept. But I mean, I would say it took, if you put all the time together, it was hours upon hours upon hours of role play built around making the amulets, using the amulets, changing the amulets.
Yeah,
and it gave a role play tool that everybody really got a lot out of it.
Yeah. And sometimes it was, to be fair too, some of it, yes, and they did get a little god moddy, but it was because at certain points, when you've done the same thing so many times, after a while, we're just like, okay, guys, nobody enjoys this anymore. Stop. Like, nobody, the emotion thing was one. I can't even remember all of the.
Reading accidental thoughts.
Right.
People who were getting, because the dragons could pinpoint where you were within 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
Using the teleportation network as a triangulation.
Yeah. And for those of you that think this sounds like it's way over the top, welcome to EverQuest 2. It was high magic.
Yes, it was. None of this broke lore at all. So they could pinpoint where you were according to the triangulation of whatever you were closest to, whatever thing. And we had to stop. We used to have it where if you had a problem, we would all go traipsing out dun, 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 as a group to rescue whoever was in trouble. And as you can imagine, that attracted a certain kind of person that misused that particular plot device.
Oof.
And we all finally just put our foot down and said, okay, here's the deal. It's going to monitor your life signs and it will just... This is what we did, and it was terrible, and I always felt like it was terribly god-modded, but honestly, we were all so sick of the whole thing that if your life signs were in trouble, the dragons would reach out, grab you, and teleport you to the medical clinic and drop you in a bed.
Yeah, that wasn't very popular. I remember that well.
Yeah,
I wanted to end this whole come rescue me bullshit, so that's what we did, and it did. It everything kind of settled down, and it got fun again. But for a little while, that particular plot device was misused to the point it wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah, it was.
It was
getting
annoying.
Highly abused by, and not just one or two. It was quite a few actually.
Hey, turn my microphone off.
Oh,
so it was. That's why we did not go that route in ESO, because I was like, absolutely not. Because we talked about having an amulet that was pretty powerful, and I was like, nope, not going there.
Yeah, well, and really the lore in ESO doesn't really hold.
No, it doesn't.
No, because
there's nothing
even the
like
most powerful mages in ESO, when it comes to communicating long distance, it's difficult for them. It's very hard.
Yeah.
Or what was it? One of them used like a speaky spell box kind of a thing, and it was pretty garbled and junk as well. It doesn't come easy with Elder Scrolls, or not Elder Scrolls, but EverQuest. Norath was far, far more magical.
Yes, the apparition stuff works, but I mean, like having like triangulation or anything like that just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And so there's no way to bring that in. So it's just, you have to tell us where you are or you're shit out of luck.
Yeah.
I got spoken to once by someone I had just met and just started role-playing with in ESO because he was like on the other side of the world from where I was, and I showed up and he asked how I got there so quick, and I said, I used the way shrines. And then I got a tell from him saying that like that broke lore or something like that. Like only certain people, or I don't remember what it was exactly, but basically I wasn't
bullshit.
supposed to use the way shrine. So
he's wrong. But there are people that believe that, but that's not true. And they're everywhere and you can physically see them. Everyone can see them. And I think just using it makes sense.
Yeah, it's
I've had people who don't use it because
it's a MacGuffin, but it is there.
Yeah,
I mean,
and just may as well use it because it's ridiculous to RP coming across
a
place for days, which is how long it would take you to walk or run.
Well,
so heroes and weapons,
right? But and that's like
this is still we're still kind of talking about that. It's
with early EverQuest 2 before a lot of the teleportation took place. Or no, Strafay, you know this one, EverQuest 1.
Yeah.
Like, it was a 15-minute wait for the boat, 15, 20
and then a
minutes.
30-minute boat ride.
Right,
yep,
for the boat to get there.
Bring your fishing bait.
And then you would glitch through at the end and have to swim the last bit.
Oh, yes. I was on one of those sinking boats. It wasn't cool.
Or the Cyclops would kill you on the dock because it was hiding underneath it. Yeah.
And you couldn't say, Eirkas is on the line.
Yes.
So Druid Rings,
for joining.
Druid Rings and Wizard Spires were very popular at that point.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
All right. Let me go ahead and drag on. Go to our call line. Go to Eirkas, who gave us the idea for this. How's it going, Eirkas? Thanks for calling the show.
Hello. Good evening.
It's an Eirkas.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Hey, where's my whiskey?
According to the Canadian law of goods and services across the border, I cannot speak on that on an open channel.
Nice try. I like that. That's good.
Nice recovery.
Yeah.
So
I'll come collect it next week.
Yes, we meet at the place.
Okay.
Y'all some dirty bootleggers, but I agree. Cool with it.
Hey, this is coming from the guy that's talking about bringing whiskey up from Texas.
Hey, man.
Bootlegger
That's true. I
what?
got to go across. I got to get out of Texas. It goes wild if you go up north of that state line, man. That Red River.
Sorry.
So what's up, Eirkas?
Yeah, like call in there. Like first off, to answer Gramma Gothy's one of her questions, I can pretty much straight up answer
Please
that
do.
I know from during one of the expansions for Warcraft, the Legion one. They had where all depends on your class, can actually collect a legendary artifact weapon from actual lore from the game or from what the developers have to make up right away, because each weapon for each spec, a lot of classes, oh my god, what to do. So particularly role-playing wise, from what I've seen during my time there, I have not seen anyone claiming they had the Ashbringer or the Doomhammer from what they did. I'm the new best shaman because I have that weapon, and it's like, nope, I'm surprised I've not seen any of that in roleplay.
Huh.
They do give you options to change their appearance through like achievements, through like do 100 world quests, and you can change into a badass looking version of the same weapon but different. And it's like, it's awesome. You can use just to look your character look nice, but not in roleplay sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're pretty much okay with that. It's like I'm sure that they're well aware they can't really be like, oh, I'm going with the Ashbringer, that's cool.
Right.
But no. So yeah, I'm glad I haven't seen that around today. So
yeah, there was the other one. Hold on, real quick.
Sure.
Flashman 10. He was the other one that followed us. Hi, Flashman, and thank you for being a custodian,
Flashman.
dropping in to say hi. I don't know why you're dropping in. That seems dangerous. Be careful of your ankles. If you roll them, you won't be able to work. But thanks for following us last week. Appreciate it.
No.
All right, now back to Eirkas.
yes, I find this topic particularly interesting because when I do a new character, no matter which game it is, every game I do this is like, all right, next, pinpoint for my character is what kind of weapon he or she can wield to fit their background, their ability to interact with others in the world, even to draw attention, or either to just for them to figure out like, hey, this is a small very character, but he's carrying this giant hand-and hammer on such a small character I made, so that can make a character draw from a crowd pretty much. Sure, hey, that guy looks cool, giant weapon, small guy, hey, let's hang out with him. Compared to you got a huge giant orc there, but it wields like two small little daggers, and it's like that's a little odd to see. Like, why not use a big giant weapon yourself? And it's like, it's different. Got easy to balance things out. So
yeah, it may not be like a named kind of a thing, but yeah, even picking the type of weapon you want your character to be seen with, that actually can be as much tied to your character as anything. I mean, yeah, given there's mechanical things that may also do that as well. Like Tarvala, she was all about big, heavy, two-handed swords. That was her gig. That's what she was good with.
That's what she said.
Yeah, well, she needed both hands for her sword. Wait.
Mm-hmm.
Something's wrong there. Going into some weird fan fiction now. Go on.
I did always love seeing the tiny Fae running around with like this enormous hammer.
Yeah. But
yeah, see, like
that's a good one.
Yeah, But for naming weapons as well, that could again come from your own like knowledge of the game as well. Like as long as you don't make something silly with it there and say, oh, can also create rainbows with every head I chop off there and something like that. There's like, oh, I have a toy for it to make it happen. See, it's like, yes, physically in the game, if it's possible, you can do that with a toy or whatever. But in role play sense, well, you kind of look I don't know. I'll take you seriously, and
I'm kind of digging on the idea of the rainbow sword of fairy head decapitation. Kind of, I don't know. It's kind of neat, actually. Kind of
Gourmand his bag of air-consuming fey.
But yeah, and you brought up the whole topic here, and it really a lot of it just depends on just sticking with we went off on the tangent of the lore. As long as you stick to the lore, and like you said, you're not calling it the rainbow fairy head of decapitation or something, or my long duck dong or something, something out there. Sweet 16, or 16 candles. But so many of them just do it based off of like it's the Soulfire or it's the Frostmourne. They just do the thing. There's so many people that do that. And there's just the lack of imagination and originality, or they think they're, which is another topic I think for next week. But they think they're not ripping it off so much as they're saying like, oh look, this is so great, and it's such a great sword in the game, and I like it so much. I just want to kind of be like that and pay homage to it. Homage. And,
you got it right.
They're referencing it, thinking that it's other people will think it's as neat as they do. And while it is a neat thing for the game, it's not neat when you and half a dozen other people are doing the exact same thing. You're not special. It's like hipsters. All right, for any hipsters out there. Get a personality, but they start that whole trend because they want to be special and all this, and then and now they've turned into the same thing. Sorry, Gramma Gothy, but what Goth's turned into, like, I'm different and special, just like all of my friends. It's like
we all dress in black clothes. We all look super depressed. We're so real.
And then hipsters, I wear plaid and I have a $5,000 beard and long flowing locks and tight skinny jeans and a belt buckle like I'm from Texas, even though I hate Texas and I've never been there and I'll never go there. And I like avocado toast and I put my hair in a bun and I'm running out of stereotypes, that kind of thing. But when you got a whole subculture that starts doing that, yeah, it's not special anymore. It's just, and you do everything as ironic. No, it's not ironic. You're just being a dumb. It's not even
being a dumb.
You're being a dumb.
You're being a dumb.
I've been on a Molly Crew kick lately. Nikki Sixx dresses like a rock star, and he's kind of a rock star. He doesn't dress like anyone else. He doesn't dress like Kiss. He just dresses like a rock star. So there you go.
Some people out there that have their own style, and trust me. Although, I am stylish. I am wearing a very good new California Republic shirt that was given to me by a friend of mine. See, look at that. See there? See that? There you go. Your two-headed bear.
I wonder what kind of troll sent that to you.
Yeah. Hey, Eirkas, real quick.
Yes.
Gothy actually asked a follow-up question. Do you think Blizzard handled the disposal of the legendary weapons well?
That can go hand in hand depending how people view it there. Like, again, like some of these weapons they made up just for the sake of filling up a spec there. Like some people's like, that makes no sense at all. I never ever seen this piece of information before about this one weapon for a warrior. Is like they definitely made this up. People know that's a fact, but like there's nothing you can do. They can roll with that. But regarding to everything else, in my opinion, they did handle pretty well for when they distribute these legendary, well-known weapons there. Of course, I play the Arms Warrior on my Warcraft account, and I always beg for them. Like, I want them to get. I just posted in the general channel on Discord as well the Gore Axe, which is wielded by Grommash Hellscream, the actual war chief of the Iron Horde back in the 2 expansions ago, I think. But I actually have that one replica hanging on my wall right now. Actually, it's one of my favorite weapons.
You're such a nerd.
I may or may not have things like that too, but I don't. I definitely.
I
can't judge you, man. I got Legolas.
I
short
definitely
swords.
don't have a proton pack sitting up on top of my shelves, along with a life-size Slimer. Oh, and an animation cell from the X-Men animated series from the late '90s. No, I definitely. I can definitely cast those stones, or a full-on Lego Voltron. So, you're a nerd. What a dork.
I got Vader's saber. You're good company.
I will
bro.
say, I got a T-shirt too. I had to say that real quick from the same person, and I don't have a cam, which I don't want a cam, but I did post pictures of me wearing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
that
heard
guy's a real nerd sending t-shirts. I mean, what a nerd.
I love mine.
Yeah, it looks
like 76.
Nice.
But yes, as much you can get like the actual replica of the weapons, these like raid bosses wield once. You farm, beat the boss. Yeah, I got the War Glaives of Azeroth from Illidan from the Burning Crusade expansion. They're like, oh my gosh, so rare. Yeah, awesome. But you don't roleplay it there. You can use it, to you PvE, world content, PvP, wherever you want, wield them, have fun, but roleplay sense, don't do it. As much as I love to, Warhowl my orc warrior, saying, "Oh, I'm the next war chief of this clan." It's like, no, no, don't do it. You can be like altercations, like make another axe, I'm like doing this in honor of the fallen war chief and his
it's
something
not,
that you could.
You're not using Doombringer. I have mine, Doombrunger.
But
different. Yes. It's a U instead of an I. I brung it already. It's not bringing the doom. It's brung it. It's been brought. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Good luck with that one. But
what? I'm original. This is original content. I'm smart and pretty. My mom says so.
I have a question about that.
Yeah, just what's your name? Your weapon out of wait, what's the name of the weapon made up from a road or something there? Something just weird, it's just random words. I mean, random letters mixed together, and they call it. Oh, it's an ancient Elven from whatever there, and it's pronounced like this. It's same as the name of the road. I hope you make a left and go right into yourself. But
what were you saying, Yudfei?
I was gonna say I have a question about that. And back when I played Alika, I think this only came up once or twice, with people asking about my Dream Scorcher. And I didn't roleplay that it was the Dream Scorcher. I would tell them that it was a Dream Scorcher. Because I figured all the other Defilers are doing it, so mine's not special. It's just one of a kind of weapon,
To go back to the original, where these all originated from, as a epic weapons in EverQuest 1. My druid, I actually got the dozens of hours of spawn camping and doing all the quests and raids and all that. God. I got my leaf blower. And they called it that because it was just a kind of a scimitar and little leaves would fall off of it. I would only assume they would make a giant mess, piling up, and there'd be just some yard guy following around you with a rake. But that was the epic weapons in EverQuest. That's really when they started. That was Kunark, I think, this first expansion when those came in, and they were when they called them epic weapons. They were to get them was epic, and it was one of those things where MMOs really don't have that this much these days. But if you saw someone with them, it was kind of like that's badass because you knew how much.
You knew the hell that they've been through.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people didn't have them. I just happened to have a great group of friends. I didn't role play at the time, so I didn't have to worry about role playing. That I didn't have to call it the leaf blower or anything like that. I don't even remember what it was called. And Final Fantasy XIV did that early on. They had their relic weapons, which were really, a very similar thing, not nearly as grindy because it was more modern. And then, unfortunately, like all things Final Fantasy does, they made them extremely trivial, and they basically gave them out after a certain, an expansion later. But that's a totally different problem with MMOs. So, if when it comes to class specific ones, I don't know. It might be a little different to say it's it's not the leaf blower, it's just a leaf blower. I don't know how that works in World of Warcraft though, because I don't know any of the lore. So you'd still probably be better off just being like, yeah, it's the leaf blower 2 electric boogaloo.
Yeah, there are some like reskins, recolors, like a different detail missing or a new detail added on there. Some can say like, oh, looks almost similar, but not really, and some can actually get away with that, and that's fine. One more thing I like to throw out there before I say my piece finally is when it comes like this happens to me in like Star Wars, Guild Wars, and actually and recently in Elder Scrolls as well, is in the cosmetic shops, like for like get like cool new weapon designs, armor designs for your characters and everything like that. And if I ever stumble upon like because we obviously weapons is what the topic's about, is like, for example, my Redguard, she wields 2 daggers. It's been established in her backstory. It's a given. She has it. That's good. Until like they presented this 2-headed, beautiful, magnificent sword there that matches like the color of her armor like perfectly. I'm like, oh my god, that is perfect for her. Oh my god, I'm like, it's like,
listen to the nerdgasm, folks. It's real.
I love it.
Like sploosh, but it's
oh god, I don't want to know about that part, bro.
All right, hey, calm down, Pam.
Clap award that crap.
Yeah, so it's like I did get the sword, but it's like I can't really switch anything out just like overnight. Like all of a sudden, she has this great, powerful sword she carries around with her. You got in your backstory, lore. You got mix and match something there, or maybe there's a heritage thing, like father passes down on to me. Now I'm gonna give it to you, from my old dusty trunk in the back. Now I just have recently and.
That's actually a good point.
Because that can... Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
You're all right. If you come into something like that, something that you want to make, like you've been working your butt towards, and you actually, whatever you name it or get it or call it aside, how your character got that is another good thing you should work on in your story. Like I said with the Fire Angel gem that Xanis got, it was a progressive story. There was as much to it as whatever the item might have done. But yeah, coming up with a good way that it was passed down, or that it was something that they had to go through, hell and high water for. But there's somebody, I've known people that like they show up with a different sword every day, each one more powerful than the last. I'm like, yeah, I got this in a dungeon. That's the story. Wow, you're boring. You're terrible. Yeah. It's like, can you come up?
Yeah,
and it's
what
always
is this,
something
D&D?
new. Huh? Yeah, right. We have just met. Would you like to go on a quest with me? That would be great, dear friend, who I have also just met. We do not know each other in real life. Correct. Let us go. Ark. Huzzah. I forgot. You always have to have a huzzah. There's always a huzzah. So.
I know, but I guess it can't be helped. There's always going to be like this brand new weapon, like of different craft than your character's normally supposed to, fight with. That's always going to be there in your, in the back of your mind, saying like, you want that weapon, do it, do something with it, It's like, I can't. It's like I can make a whole new character just to for the sake of holding that weapon around and role playing with it. But it's like, I don't really want to go through that much trouble. But
that goes back to Ashen's analogy of watering your roleplay tree. How many trees do you want to water?
Right.
Just for some cool loot.
Yeah. And it's always better just to come up with your own, come up with something new. And just because you have it doesn't mean you've got to show it off, right? Show it off all the time. You can build up to it. Make a little event out of it or something like that. Or a story if you one of the 5 people in roleplay that still writes them on forums or something.
on my forum. Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, you don't have to whip it out every pub night or anything.
No.
Stand on
Whip
back.
it out.
Oh, darling.
His mother
Careful now.
That was awesome, Unifei.
Good job.
You
Good
say
job.
that, Yunfei, but the same guy I was talking about, he was always, when he would show his sword off, he would whoosh, whip it out, and I think...
No, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, and I think my
You're
character actually
absolutely right.
said, you whip your sword out more than a John in a brothel. It's just like, come on, man. So, well, I appreciate you calling in, Eirkas.
Oh,
And
yeah,
by the way,
have fun with this.
And thank you for the topic, by the way.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank
no
you.
problem. I'm glad to pinch in
fun.
my...
Now back to your Argonian hole in Canada way.
Yeah, go back down your lizard slide, like that thing that everyone's constantly showing you with the alligator in the giant water park. But
Yes, finally show them how it's really down up here in
that's...
the Great White North.
Oh, wait, no, hold on. Okay, so, seriously, Eirkas, Canadian, what's with the bagged milk? Really?
Because it's awesome. We have it here in Iowa, too.
For those of you that don't know, up in Canada, they actually
And
have...
Iowa.
And apparently Iowa is going to be annexed soon, hopefully, by Canada.
No kidding.
They don't buy it in cartons. They buy bags of milk, like a plastic bag, and you put it in a pitcher separate that you just have in your house, like you would for tea or something, and then you cut off the corner and you pour it. Okay, so here's my question, Eirkas. Do you like... When you cut the little corner off, is the milk just exposed to the air in the fridge? Like you don't have a way of sealing that up or anything? It's just like little bits of particles can get in there with the milk?
I think they assume you have a clean refrigerator.
Yeah, there's nothing that's that clean. That you just. I mean, there's fecal matter. They tested McDonald's, automated screens, and all of them tested positive for a great amount of fecal matter. So it gets everywhere.
Oh.
Yeah, by the way, don't order your food from McDonald's. So,
Well, actually, no, I'll not go there.
Don't put your hands on them. But
it's a simple way of life we have here. It's there's nothing really to overreact or explain. It's like you just cut it. It sits there in the fridge. You keep it cool. Like you don't need a pin. Like
you
put a pin
can
on
roll it. You can put a pin over it. Some people put a clip over the top. I mean,
yeah, it's just extra work. But why?
This is so freaking alien to me. You guys are weird. You guys are nuts.
You buy the pitcher.
I'm not alone.
You get this little pitcher, and it has a little hook on one side so that you can hook it and shut it if you want to.
So roleplay.
No, this is important stuff right here. I had to know.
Oh my goodness!
And yes, Indigo,
madness.
my germophobia is showing a little bit. I'm pretty good at it most times, but so it is a thing up in Canada because I looked it up and there was some that were saying like it's not really a thing in Canada. I'm like, okay, well then why are all these other things saying it is a thing? And why am I looking at pictures of bags of milk? So okay, well, I wanted to hear it from our official Canadian correspondent. And
our grocery stores don't sell it, but like the Quick Trips and stuff and the Quick Stars do, because it stores easily. I would assume, and it's cheaper because you're not buying the plastic.
There's still plastic,
but you're only buying that plastic once.
But the bag's plastic.
Okay, yes, but it's still less plastic than an actual bottle.
Guys, it's Rahanar.
Hey, Rahanar.
Oh, you let Rahanar in here, man.
We have another.
Yeah, I see Indigo up there.
He's actually another Canadian.
It's very important that he would like to talk to you about a very important topic.
Okay, did he want Eirkas to stay here so they could have a Canadian fellowship, or is this?
I guess.
Okay, all right,
Canadian fellowship.
Okay, hold on.
You're talking more than that's my job description.
Would this be considered the Fellowship of the Maple Leaf?
Can I be an honorary Canadian? My mom was born in Canada.
Welcome, Indigo Jules. Thanks for calling.
Do you know the anthem?
Hey, Indigo.
Eirkas, Indigo.
I don't know.
Who made that comment about Argonians?
That was me, son.
I could have too. I make a lot of comments and don't remember half of them.
And in the spirit of our missing brother, hippity hoppity,
don't you say
Argonians have done more property.
Good times.
So, what'd you have?
We miss you. Yeah.
Indigo?
It got real quiet here.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
He's going to stab you. He's contemplating your death.
Well, come on down, son.
I'm trying to figure out if I could get to your base in Fallout 76 if you're offline.
You want to start that fire, and I'm online right now. We can dance if you want to.
Online. Yeah.
Don't do it. He's a vicious PvPer. Don't do it.
What would you tell? Why would you tell him such lies about me, man? That's just cruel.
Yeah, says the guy that started out. I was level like 40, and now you're level like 108,492.
I'm a humble man. It's only 111. What are you talking about?
Only 111. Oh, Vault.
And I'm like 40.
Vault
so
111. So, what'd you have, Indigo?
Okay, about how swords make the weapon.
Okay. All right. Well, hold on. Let me, Eirkas.
Yes.
Thank you for calling. Appreciate you. I'll let you go.
All right.
I wanted
Thank
to make
you.
sure it wasn't about Canadian bag milk first, and we're good.
I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about with the bag milk. We don't have it at BC.
Oh, see, there you go. So maybe yes, it must be a certain regional thing up in like the Quebecian area. I don't know. I have no idea. I've never been to Canada.
Well, it's in Minnesota and Iowa and Michigan and Wisconsin. And
I don't make it right.
No, it doesn't make it okay.
Store is easier. Freeze is easier.
I mean, I go to the Asian market and they have freeze-dried squid tentacles as a candied snack. It doesn't make it okay.
Oh, those are good.
All right, anyway, Indigo, before I throw up in my mouth, you go.
So, Indigo.
Okay, weapons. Well, I honestly wasn't going to come in here until someone made a comment about Argonians, so I came back in. So I decided to come in. The thing with weapons is it's something that you would actually have. You wouldn't, every time you got a new sword, you wouldn't drop it. You don't know its weight. You don't know how it's balanced. You would stick with what you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I actually have that. My Argonian does have a ebony sword, like an ebony bastard sword, because I just really like how a bastard sword can be like a two-hander and a one-hander.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of
and
fun
so
role-play combat kind of stuff situations.
Yeah. And sometimes I just really loathe the two-handed on the back animation. So it's the same sword, it's just on his hip.
Right. Yeah, and
he wants that sweet Conan sword going.
Yeah, and if I don't, my character like Tarvala, she was just a two-hander. It wasn't like with Xanis where it was a specialty weapon or anything like that. So when I got a new one, of course at ESO it's not such a big deal because you just make the new one look like whatever one you were already using. So it's less of a deal in ESO. But any new upgraded sword I got, I didn't roleplay as though it was a new sword. It was just the sword that she'd already had before, and it was not a big deal. But if you get to a point where you want to do that, you really should put in the thought for it. But
yeah, Jorah's sword, he likes its balance, he knows it, and he does do a lot of traveling in the mire, and ebony doesn't rust.
Oh yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've clearly put some thought into it, which is something you kind of should do a little bit if you're going to roleplay out having something.
Yeah, and it's kind of the most expensive thing he owns, and so he treats it like it's his grandmother's good china.
Until he
bangs
it against something else of equal strength, right? Well, it's sort of like grandma's good china, right up until I smash someone's skull in with it. Cleave them in twade.
Yeah.
Twade.
And sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, Ovo, his comment, I have to agree with him in the Twitch chat. They said, if I saw a pile of bag of milk and I happen to have a push pin on me, the urge would be too great to resist. Totally would be with them on that. I'd be like,
I can only imagine. I don't know if anyone watches a lot of YouTube, but if you see the things where people did the quote unquote prank of like carrying two gallons of milk and then pretending like they fell and throwing them up in the air so they exploded everywhere. I can't imagine that works out better in Canada either with a bag of milk.
Yeah, because it'll freeze after it explodes and then it's just shrapnel.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt either.
Milk shrapnel.
Then it's like having Elsa on hand at all times or Sub-Zero.
I've actually at -40, if you spit, it'll bounce.
Nice.
Whew.
Wow.
Problem is with that you have to be somewhere where it's -40. Nah, I'm good.
No.
Actually,
come to Iowa in the winter. We love it here.
No. I'm never. No. I'm as far north as I'm going.
She almost shattered my spine with her ice hands today, and it was like 50 outside.
No. I am not a cold weather person. I get cranky.
And also, fun trivia fact: -40 Celsius is right around the same where they sync up. So,
yeah,
my -40 is the same as yours.
Yeah, yeah. You were talking. Were you talking Celsius, Indigo?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little colder.
Okay.
Yeah,
no.
that's even worse.
I was talking Fahrenheit. -40 Fahrenheit.
And even that was bad. Although I will say, God bless my country. The people that thought like when it was -20, they could go out and do what like Indigo could do, or the Russians can do, where they boil a pot of water and throw it up in the air and it steams quickly and instantly. Bless the Americans.
And then snows.
Yeah. There were people that did that here in America when it was -20, and they got just a face full of hot water. And it was... I shouldn't have laughed so hard. They're probably scarred for life. But you know what? I'm good with it.
I don't know what they were thinking. I watched those. I was just like, what are you doing?
Well, what I loved is, when I would do... even if it was -40 outside, like where Indigo was, I would still not throw it up above my head where it may have the chance of coming down on me. I would eject it away from my body. But these people, they just did it straight up and then looked into the sky as it came down.
Yeah,
still
I saw those. You're supposed to throw it into the wind, not against the wind. Throw it into the wind and watch it freeze, not throw it at like somebody
like yourself
or yourself. Yeah. That's just so much level of just painfully not
basic
smart.
Fifth grade science. So, well, you have anything else, Indigo?
Well, I do have this in my head, like a roleplay stat called affinity, which is when you have a weapon or a piece of equipment, the longer you use it, the better you get with it.
No, that's actually kind of cool. Actually, I really like that. That makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
No, I like that. All right, from now on, everybody need to use affinity. I
think there are some that do use that.
No, it's actually, yeah, I mean, I've kind of had a rule like that, but I've never put words to it. Now that you say that, that actually works very well.
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, like with anything that you use all the time or, train all the time, and you just get better at it the more you get used to it. Like sleeping.
Yeah.
I've gotten amazing at sleeping. I have a great affinity for that. What? I can't be alone.
Mm-hmm. I'm not.
What? Man, these people.
Really?
I know.
That's just called lazy.
Oh,
the affinity is the level of Heart of Azeroth. Seriously?
Oh, yeah, that's what Gramma Gothy said. Affinity equals level of Heart of Azeroth. I unfortunately don't know what that means, so you'll have to explain that, Indigo.
Heart of Azeroth is the necklace you got in the past expansion.
Oh.
That you're meant to cherish and worship, and just it's supposed to be a replacement for your epic badass sort of badassness.
Oh, so whatever the higher your affinity is, the better that. There was EverQuest 2 had a necklace or something. It wasn't like that, or some sort of item that the higher level you got, the better it got as you leveled.
That was EQ2.
Yeah, it was EQ2, but I can't remember what it was. But it was something like that.
It was a necklace, and you made them, jewelry in particular. You could make them, and they would level up, and you could level up your jewelry.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah.
You had to level them up, and the more you killed things, the more they leveled up, and the more affinity they had to you, and the more they gave to you.
And then it can evolve, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a Pokemon.
Oh, gosh.
What? So, all right. Well, appreciate you calling, Indigo.
Yeah.
Yes,
you have a good night. Thanks for calling the show.
Night.
Night, bro.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. All right.
Bye.
So,
bye.
Wrapping up last little thing here. The stuff you put in here, Jez. You want to hit that real quick? I think we pretty much hit everything.
I marked that as we got it. Did you not see that? Okay, hold on.
No, because I don't have my screen full sized. Oh, covered this. Oh, I see that now.
We already covered it, so I marked it as covered.
We're so pro.
Well,
yes, professionals.
I have two screens, and I have to have OBS on one screen full size because I need to be able to see all this shit.
Well, this is more of just a reiteration of what I said, in that there's a caution to be had, particularly in MMOs, where we're all the hero and we all have specialness. And each person levels with the idea that they're the one.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to roleplay out the story, and you forget that so is everyone else. Everyone else is also the hero. Everyone else is also the one. Mm-hmm. They're the chosen one. They're the gifted one, whatever the game points you out as. And so to roleplay that, you're saying that no one else is roleplaying the game but you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so completely idiotic that's why people react. Because I had a girl ask me, why does this make everybody mad? Why can't I do this? I said, because everybody's done it, honey. And you're saying you're the only one.
Mm-hmm.
But I am the only one. So is everyone else.
Sure you are, sweetheart.
It's not.
But they didn't choose to roleplay it out, and I did. Okay, that just makes you less creative.
Yeah, well, and
what?
Everybody already. It's spoiler alert. We're all spoiled on what you are. We know exactly.
Right,
we
and
know
so
the story. You're not.
This particular point then bleeds into the next, which is extremely unpopular amongst certain people. But I'm going to say it. Your raiding gear is not your roleplay gear.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. This pisses a lot of people off. But the bottom line is, I would have Uber, raiding gear, and did, back in the day when I had 18 hours a day to play in the game. But now I have 2.5 to 3 hours to play in my game every day. And I do not have the time, the energy, or the inclination to spend my free time in a raid, because I'd really rather have my,
have
teeth
fun.
yanked out by, a small 2-year-old with the pliers. So it's not high on my list as something that I want to do. But that doesn't mean that you get to say that you're somehow more badass than me because you have raid armor and I don't. And that's where it comes to the whole you can't role play out your level. It all kind of feeds into that,
your gear or your sword.
Yeah. When you role play out that you have this super duper sword, what's the chances that there's another role player who has the exact same sword as you?
Yeah.
It's kind of dangerous territory, though, because if you're this really bad to the bone assassin and you're level 10, I can't take you seriously.
I understand that, and I do understand that, but, and here's the caveat, most role players of value that I have come across in years are willing to understand that point, that if you're going, unless you're like a role NPC,
right.
You know that if you want to be that badass, you need to make an effort to level your character. And even if it is, just on the weekends, and you'll eventually max out. It doesn't take that long. It really doesn't, guys. Most MMOs.
It's not like EverQuest back in the day, no.
Yeah, it's not like it used to be. It's actually a lot easier. I mean, Vaka was a badass person, but she was level 30 forever. But I roleplayed her as being Uber for a long time. Eventually, I did get her up to 30 because I got bored. Got her up to max because my husband started dangling pretty things and said, look at this outfit you could wear if you were level
60,
50,
yeah.
level 70. And I was like, ooh, I would like that.
I remember when Vaka conned green to me, and I was just blown away.
Those were good days. Good days.
Such a badass presence that it never occurred to me that she was anything but max level,
Right. Well, and it did. I do think I was very much a proponent of you can't RP level until I maxed out my character. And then I did understand their argument, per se. Except...
It's a perception that's really hard.
Yeah.
It's a mental block
if you are the kind of person who can, like I did at 30, I role-played a badass character and people believed it. They didn't know that she was level 30 unless they looked. But I also knew a lot about the lore, and I knew a lot about the game, and I could play the game, and I enjoyed it, and I knew about it, and that level of intelligence of the game, not intelligence like my intelligence,
like
but intelligence
knowledge
of the game,
the lore, and
right, comes through, and people believe that. If you can pull that off and be a level 10, fine. But most people
are like Strafe. And even
right.
me, like, and I can
dude, I come from the mindset of you saw that level 50 ogre Shadow Knight roll into town, and you're like level 35. You're like, oh my gosh, that dude is the dude.
Mm-hmm.
That dude is terrifying. Like, I don't know, it just is.
Right, and Triton was always in max level, max best.
Yeah, and I was afraid of Triton. Always afraid of Triton.
And he was badass, and he could PvP, and he could PvE, and he was amazing. And that lent to his believability as the commander of our
He also
guild.
chewed the air just so, and it terrified me. I'm just saying.
He did. It was terrifying. But at the same time,
you can get away with that. Like if you know, like if I created a character and you knew, or it was either going to build up or, like you said, an NPC. If you know the person behind it, that perception can shift. But when it's a completely unknown person to you.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, Strafe's reaction is what you're going to get out of most role players. Either, especially because, and for honestly, because the real reason behind it, most of the time, is the level 10 acts like such an utter douche canoe that you have no choice but to not be able to take them seriously because they come out of nowhere, and then they're like, "Hey, I'm the one."
I've got to say too that people who are adamant that gear doesn't matter and level doesn't count tend to be people who are low level.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched and could name but won't people who maxed out their characters and then turned into raiders that roleplayed and suddenly had the exact opposite opinion once they were max level and could beat everybody up.
I've known,
and
we've known a lot of role players that would refuse to do PvP roleplay. Like they would do combat, like RP roll and rolls like that.
Yeah.
And that's all they would do. And then, like you said, they got into raiding. And then after that, they would only accept dual roleplay. They would only actually use the game mechanics to fight because they knew they could take anybody on typically if they did that. Which was why it was so much fun for me.
Yeah, that's stacking the deck in your favor.
Right. And I was a monk, and they didn't think a monk could do shit, and then they would find themselves
So
face down.
when I have somebody that's really adamant, there's a good chance if they're in the process of leveling, they're going to change their opinion once they are badass.
Mm-hmm. And it does happen.
And that's a
often.
dangerous place to be because...
Be consistent.
Yeah, be consistent. I've always been consistent. That level doesn't... Your physical level of your character in game does not necessarily... Yeah. But have some sense. If you want to be some ancient, powerful, ultimate guy, take the time and level your character. Don't be level 10 and start acting like
scrub clothes. Yeah,
I'm always cool with the roll combat deal. That's always been cool with me. I even know if I was max or wasn't max. But the whole I'm going to abuse my power because I'm level 55. Come on, dude. Get a grip.
I swear to God, and I don't know why this is, but I do know that something happens to people once they PvP and they do it all the time.
It's that adrenaline rush of power. That's what it is.
They know they can kick anybody's ass or they're pretty good at chances of doing it. And they no longer will tolerate role play and say, you shouldn't be able to take my character out.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't think it's fair that, and people will say that of my character, because Cial is max and I DPS really well and I also PvP really well. And I could probably give some people a run for their money, except for the Uber guys like Ascari. And I do pretty well. And they're like, well, then you should duel. No, I find dueling, first of all, it's really hard for me. I don't feel I do it very well anymore. And I don't think that it proves anything RP-ly, because what your character can do on Iceli and what your character can do
mechanically
because of his gear are two entirely different things.
Right. Yeah.
And shouldn't be on the same playing field. Now, is it nice that back in the day when I played AOC and I had a fire mage and somebody would mouth off and say, you know what, mage, let's go fight it out. And they would absolutely categorically refuse to roleplay duel. So I was like, okay, fine. And I'd smoke them.
Right.
That's because that game was broken, bro.
Well, yes, but fire mages were badass. Even after we were nerfed, I still could PvP my way very well. But
wreck that game.
Then they had nothing else to say because I rolled them and they were like, well, that wasn't fair. Let's retcon that and we'll just roleplay fight. Not so.
What Indigo said too is I had shitty internet for a long, long time, so that's why I don't duel. It's a good reason.
And that's a good reason. Lag sucks. You go to swing and nothing happens and they kill you and then they're like,
and then you sound like a loser, even if it's a legitimate excuse, like, I lagged out. Sure you did. Now you lagged out. I'm always lagging out. Have you not met me? Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm a perpetual state of, is it going to crash? Oh, it's saved.
Pretty much.
But I found that people who PvP a lot, particularly people who are awesome at it, won't roleplay duel. And I think it's because, not to be too mean or put too fine of a point on it, they suck at roleplay dueling. And they don't like the random nature of roleplay dueling where someone else could win if the rolls go right. Is it frustrating when I know that Cial kills people for a living and she gets her ass handed to her by some level 6 guy because he's bigger and he insists that he's going to win simply because he's bigger and I make him roll and he does win?
I'm going to play devil's advocate. These players that focus on PvP, they got their build down to an art and they practice at it. They play to win. They don't play to roleplay. Right. And so that's where the conflict comes in. We have a whole different mindset of how we play the game. They're playing it based on the mechanics. We played it because we want story. We want development.
But I do know that people who, like I said before,
but that's why they won't do it because they're like, no, forget you.
People that used to be all about role-playing your level isn't fair.
When they flip-flop. Yeah.
Then they flip, and the minute that they can PvP, they turn it around and say, well, now it's cool because I can kick your ass.
I was for it before I was against it.
Yeah.
To give you, before we go out of here, real quick, good example of that was Final Fantasy XIV. I was playing a ninja guy. He was pretty badass. He looked really cool, had swords. Went into that grindstone tournament, and I got to the end, and I went up against a potato with a spell book because you couldn't use spells. So she didn't use her spells. She just beat the shit out of him with a thick tome. I have 2 ninja swords. I'm bouncing around like fucking Naruto, and she beats him with a book. It was fun. I mean, I didn't take it's a tournament thing. It's completely random rolls. It was a lot of fun. Never lived that shit down with the guild that was watching the entire time, but it was fun, And and I actually liked if I'm gonna, and she won the whole tournament, so I was like, hey, I lost to the potato that won the whole thing. What do you want from me? So, but it happens, and you just have. But
the people who are so against the rolling are people who insist that their characters shouldn't lose.
Yeah, and you just have to accept that things happen. It's not fun. Nobody likes to lose, but it does create its own role play.
I guess I'm weird. I don't care if I lose. I don't. My characters, I come up with the reason why they probably lost. They had a bad day. They hadn't slept for 3 days. Or that it's just like Cial, who's into pain. She enjoys getting the crap beat out of herself. So on some level, she's getting off on it, and it's very funny. I don't think I've ever won a duel with dice with Cial.
She is named roleplay weapon Pain.
Yeah, she loves to be smacked around, and so it works. Plus, she's an assassin, so if she's coming after you, you're never going to see her coming. Of course, she's going to win.
We're way off in the weeds, guys. I'm just saying.
But in a face-to-face, she's going to lose, and that's why I don't mind it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that'll about cover it then.
Yep. So. We've beaten it to death.
That's right.
And then some.
Appreciate the idea, because it was a good one. Very, very good idea. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Twitch.tv/RPM Radio. Make sure if you haven't already, follow us, subscribe, whatever, all that. I don't remember which one's which, but follow. Follow that one. Subscribe if you have like an Amazon Prime thing and you're not using it. Throw it our way. We'll take it. Go ahead, and I want to thank my crew. Jazz, Sib, Strafay, Yunfei, Rahanar, you got to work out today. Good to have you back too, buddy. Thank you all of our callers, Indigo, Jules, and Eirkas. I don't know why I feel like I'm forgetting one, but I don't think I am. I'm terrible with names. Anyway. So, of course, I'm Ashton Phoenix, and tune in next time when we'll go over why halflings, I mean, they're really not good, and they don't have any weapons like Sting, I guess, but it wasn't even his. He just kind of borrowed it and then stole it, really. I mean, I guess he is a burglar, so it kind of worked out. So next time on RPMO Radio. Have a good night, everybody. The thoughts and opinions of those on RPMO Radio are just that and should not be taken as the gospel truth, but pretty close to it. Music, as always, is provided by Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/HuskyByTheGeek to hear all his great video game rock covers and original music.